Hello guys, in this video I want to talk about how you can create an infinite background that loops endlessly and get such a result. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on the bell to stay updated on more tutorials. Before I begin, can you give me some advice for the next videos? Just comment below and let me know which topics you'd like me to cover. Character rigging, character animation or motion graphic techniques. If you're passionate about motion graphics and After Effects, I highly recommend checking out my Motion Hero course. Without further ado, let's start. The first thing that I need to do is create the layers that I want to animate, which I had already made beforehand. Let me select the layers so we can see them better. This layer is the leaves of the tree, which is basically a shape. And as you can see, I made some highlights for it using a mask. If you don't know how to create such highlights, check out this video up here. To make the trees and leaves look better, I've created these three shapes as well. The next layer is the trunk of the tree, which I made a highlight for plus some shading on top of it. And all of these were possible with masking the effects, which I've talked about in the video I just mentioned earlier. I've also made two separate layers as bushes. One of which, as you can see, has a highlight made with masking, and I can edit the highlight with the mask. I also made another bush over here, as well as 4 layers for the flowers, and 3 layers for these trees. On the left, I made another giant trunk by duplicating the first one. And here a small leaf with a shadow. Okay, after designing, it's time to do some animation. First thing first, I select all the layers here and make them 3D. I don't need these 2 layers for now, so I hide them. This layer that's for the leaves should be parented to the tree layer. I also parent these 3 layers to the leaves layer. So now when move the trunk, the other parts move as well. I move these bush layers forward a little bit. To do this easily, I change the view to the custom view. I place the layers here using the camera tool, and I start moving the layers. I move this layer forward slightly. I place the flowers in front of the bushes. I also move these 3 layers to the back. I go back to the active camera. I add a null object to the scene and make it 3D. And I place it here. Alright. I select all the layers except for the layers that haven't been parented, and then I parent them to the null object. I open the position and create a keyframe in the beginning, and I move it forward. I move it so much forward so I can't see them on the screen. Then I go to the second 7 and create another keyframe and I move it way behind. Looks good. I change the position of the first keyframe so the movement path of the null is like this. Let's check it out. After that, to add some color diversity and more beauty to the animation, I select the leaves layer. Under fill, I create a keyframe for its color. I hit U. I must do the same for these 3 other layers as well. In order not to create keyframes for these, I parent the fill color of these layers to the fill color of the main layer. I do the same for this one too. So when I change the color of this layer, the other layers change too. I head over to the second 4 and change the color of the leaves to this color. And on second 7, I change it to this color. but I make it a bit lighter. Let's check it out. To change the color of the trunk towards the end, I add a level effect to this layer. In the beginning, I create a keyframe for its histogram. I hit U so I can see the keyframes. And then on second 7, I change its color like this. I also change the final color of the leaves to the same color as the trunk so they look alike. After that, I want all the layers to disappear at the end of the animation. To do that, I open the opacity of the tree and create a keyframe for it. 10 frames backward, I create another keyframe for it and I set its opacity to 0 at the end. For the other layers to disappear as the tree layers disappears, I parent their opacities to the opacity of the tree layer. Let's check out the results so far. The color of the trunk changes a bit quickly. I move the keyframes forward a little bit. I have to do the same for the bushes as well. I copy the keyframes of the level effect and paste it for these two bushes so as they go back, their colors change to white. I open their opacities and parent them to the opacity of the tree layer. Then I copy the expression of this opacity and paste it for the other one, so I don't have to parent it by pickwhip. I select these trees in the background and paste the expression I had just copied so they would disappear towards the end as well. I do the same for the flowers. Then I select all these layers and put them in a new comp and name it animation. Then to loop the animation, I add the echo effect to the comp and change the number to 10. I set the echo time to -1.7 for now and echo operator to composite in back. I decrease the echo time a bit and set it to -1.5. And I set the resolution to quarter so I can easily navigate in the timeline. Well, there shouldn't be such a space between the layers. The next one should appear sooner. To fix that, I head over to the animation comp and scale up the null object. Looks better. I head over to where the first layer is disappearing, which is about here. Using the ruler, I make a mark right here. I set the start of the work area to here. I move further until the next layer is exactly where the ruler is there. Then I trim the work area here. And now let's see how the animation looks so far. As you can see, the animation is looped perfectly. After that, I create a solid layer for the background. I add the gradient ramp effect to it and set the starting color to this and the ending color to the same one, but a little bit greener. I duplicate this layer and inverse the mask and move it up and set the effect like this. I go back to the animation comp and appear these two remaining layers. I move it behind. About here. It should be bigger. A little bit behind to be exactly in front of the leaves layer. And I move this layer forward slightly and lower so it overlays this tree. And then I parent this layer to the null object, which is layer 19. This leaf should be placed behind the tree layer. I scale it up and set it to 100. And parent it to the null object. I create keyframes for their positions and move them to the left so they wouldn't be visible initially. Right here, they move to the right just a bit. And here they move to the left. This layer moves a bit more and hides behind the trunk. Then I make the keyframes easy ease. Let's check out the results. I head back to the main comp. I also create a bunch right here. And put it below the comp and change its color to green. After doing this, it's time to make shadows for these bushes and trees. To do that, I add a solid layer to the scene. I change its color, as well as its name. And then I move it below other layers. I make it 3D. And change its X rotation to -90 degrees so it looks flat surface. I go to the top view and I place this solid layer exactly where the bushes are. Like this. And for now, I create a shadow like this. I parent it to the null. I have to get rid of the distance between these two shadows. I go to the top view once more and I expand the shadow so the distance would be gone. The next problem that occurs is that the new shadow overlaps the last one. So to fix that, I head over to the comp and change the rotation of the shadow a bit. I increase its scale. After that, I also fix its angle. Well, after that, I head over into the top view and change the shadow like this. I shrink the mask so it's not bigger than the solid, and then increase the scale of the solid. Let's check it out. It's good. I change the view to the active camera. And I parent the opacity of the shadow to the opacity of the tree so both disappear together. I do the same for this layer as well. Let's check it out. To fix this flicker of the tree, I head over to the main comp. And here I move this layer forward, as well as this layer, and move the main leaves layer backward. I head back to the main comp, and now let's see how it turned out. Looks pretty decent. To make the animation even better, I head over to the animation comp. Let me move these trees to the right. And let's add a new camera to scene. I come here and open the camera options and enable the depth of field. I set the resolution to full so I can see better. I set its aperture to 450 and then I change its focus distance so I can see the layers clearly. To do this better, I switch to the top view and then see where the bushes are, so I change the focus distance until it reaches the bushes. Back to the active camera, and as you can see, the layers are clearly visible. And as they go far away, they get blurred, as well as the moment they appear in the beginning. Well, it's very good. If you're interested in creating more infinite background loops, this other tutorial can also help you a lot. Thanks for watching.